Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Hi, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And I'm so excited. This particular lady gives me some curiosity here. We have Ashley Ann with us today. She's known as King Ashley Ann. She's a talented biz owner, public speaker, social media strategist. She's helped over 11,000 individuals monetize their social media with over 700 creating six-figure incomes. She's also currently worked with and helped 151 people create seven-figure incomes, and 9 of her clients are consistently doing multi-million-dollar months. Here we are with Ashley Ann today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, and just for the audience to know, she just reported that she's getting over laryngitis. So, we're going to do what we have. So thank you so much for being here and being willing to interview with us, even after just recovering from all of this stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah, my voice is a little heavy. I sound like a toad. So it'll get there as the conversation.
But stay tuned with us, because at the end, she's going to be like an opera singer. Here we are. I love it. Okay, so out of curiosity, I'm curious, how did you get to be labeled or titled King Ashley Ann?
Because I'm the best at what I do.
I love it. I love it.
There hasn't been anyone that we've come across yet that has the track record that I have. And honestly, majority of my clients, unfortunately, spent a significant amount of money, like thousands of dollars, going through other programs with other coaches and mentors, sometimes working, trying to get things to come to fruition for years. And I was just, they normally could come and work with me, and they were like, how are you doing this? How did we get this turnaround? And so it just kind of stuck. It sounded right. It felt right. I said, yeah, we'll roll with it, because I definitely have dominion over anything that's happening inside of my territory. And I'm a firm believer in, you can speak to your day and tell your day what you want to see.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, so tell us, a little bit about you and how you got to be where you're at today, on this journey.
Honestly, I would say being consistent. People always say hard work, and hard work is a part of it, but I know so many people that work hard, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still not getting the results that they would like, right?
Right.
So it's a combination of hard work and strategy, if I'm being honest.
I love it.
And I say that because I feel like everybody listening probably knows someone that is one of the hardest working people, right, that they've ever met. People that work 2 and 3 jobs, you know what I mean? Like even some of our parents and stuff like that. And they still weren't able to accomplish some of the goals that they were looking to accomplish. So I've gotten very intentional, over the past few years at, just saying it's not just hard work, right? It's hard work and it's strategy together. And so I started off with my event design and production company and won a bunch of awards, ended up working my way up on that. But in my master's program, I was taught to be a traditional marketer. And so what I mean by that, like radio ads and TV and billboards and mailers and, mass marketing, right? You be everywhere just in case someone thinks that they want to utilize your services that they have, that you come to mind. And, it honestly was not working for me the way I felt like it should have been compared to social media, where I was able to post, you know what I mean? And this is before content marketing was deemed content marketing, but that's essentially what I was doing back then, just kind of giving helpful information, tips, answering questions for clients. But social media wasn't costing me anything outside of if I decided to run ads. And yet it was turning me over consistent clients. And then other event industry professionals would come in and start asking me for tips and advice. And then other people that were outside of the event industry started coming to the trainings and the classes. And I honestly, I'd always have people come and ask me for advice, but there was this one particular lady, and she had a business coach that she was spending $5,000 a month with. But this girl got to a point she was literally calling me every day. And so finally, I just asked her, I said, well, why are you calling me? You have a business coach. Like, not, and she said, because everything you tell me works. And I had several people give me that sentiment. And I finally honestly kind of got tired. I was like, well, I'm doing all this work and all these people are getting paid to do it that aren't me. So that's how I got into the consulting side and opened up the social media agency. You know, we started doing ads and running funnels and, you know, helping clients create return paths. And really, though, I prefer teaching clients. Like I can do the work for you, but I always tell everybody I'm expensive. Like I'm worth my money though. Like you're gonna make your money back. But even if you want to outsource or hire someone, you have to understand the process of how all this stuff works. One, to keep yourself from getting hustled, right? I think everybody knows somebody that's gotten scammed in these streets. And then number two, it helps you when you are directing someone or saying, this is what I want to accomplish. If you truly understand your brand, if you truly understand your client base, if you truly understand what's going to make them make a move. And everything just kept on going from there, girl.
I love it. I love it. So in this journey, and you've created a massive company, in this journey, what has been your biggest challenge, your barrier, or the block that you've had to overcome to get to where you're at today?
Myself.
I know we all say that. We all say that. But
I
what in
know
what
myself.
aspect? What
Like,
aspect of that?
yeah. And I'll say this, you know, I had to deal with people having issues with me because I'm a woman, right? So you got to deal with sexism. I had to deal with racism because I'm Black. I had to deal with ageism because I started my company when I was 21 and people just kind of felt like I was a kid and, you know, I didn't know anything. But the biggest thing I feel like for me, even though with all of that, um, getting to a point where I was not over committing myself to things, right? And what I mean by that is people would come and they needed help with like a project or a task, or, you know, they got questions or they need like a shoulder to cry on. And I don't mind being that, but I can't do that if it's going to be at detriment to me. And
Mhm.
so I was operating in dysfunction for a very long time. And I was burnt out and I was worn out because I was trying to do so many things. And in the process, what happens is your business, your vision, your goals, your personal life starts to suffer because you don't really have any time or energy left for you. And so I was kind of like, I went through a period for a couple of years. I was like just skating by. Like I was getting stuff done, but I was always getting everything done at the last minute. And it was like running from one room to the next to put out a fire. And that's not that's not really the type of life, you know what I mean, that you want to be living. And what good is making a ton of money if you're always stressed and you don't have time to enjoy it? And so I had to, I know it sounds wild, but I had to learn how to say no sometimes or
Yeah.
tell people I can assist you, but I have to do it later because I got to take care of this, you know, initially. So that was a big struggle for me. And then being, you know, Southern, you're taught to be hospitable. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was like literally I kept ending up in situation after situation after situation where I was getting the short end of the stick, or things weren't happening the way they were supposed to, or people weren't, you know, coming through with the things that they had committed to. And I was just like, you know what? Like, if I can get to the point, and again, I love helping people, like at the core of me, that's who I am. But I also had to learn it has to be in balance. And like, yes, you can help someone, but maybe there's only allotted amount of time, right? Yeah, I can come, but I can come from 12 to 3. You know what I'm saying? I can't
Yeah.
come day from 8 in the morning to,
Yeah.
11 o'clock at night every night. I may can give you one night that week that's a long day like that, but I can't do that every day because I have my own projects, I have my own clients, I have my own classes, I have my own material that I need to be able, to learn. And then I was always taking care of everything for my clients. And so that left me like very little time for myself. And during that period, like I didn't see like a dip in revenue and profits, but it was pretty stationary, it's like stagnant because I literally did not have the space to learn something new or execute on new things or be able to do proper reviews and analysis with my own stuff because I was like, all out here with everybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
for
I think
me,
this is, and I think this is, I think this is such, I love that we're having this conversation because I think, and I love that you said I was operating in dysfunction, right? And I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and it doesn't matter if you're starting out, if you're in that growth space, because anytime we go to that next level, there does feel like there's more energy exerted into that growth phase, right? And so I'm curious from kind of that perspective, what were some of the things that you felt were helpful? Yes, saying no, right? And I think that's a tough one for entrepreneurs because we want to be all things to all people at all times, and it's just not realistic. And you know, we won't take care of ourselves, and I think it's just this vicious cycle that happens. So, help us unpack that a little bit more about that transition for you, and how were you aware of it? Take us through some of those steps for you.
so the biggest thing is, again, I just got tired of always being tired. Tired of always being tired.
Yes.
And when I say I'm a person that performs very well under pressure, and I think most entrepreneurs have that in common, we perform extremely well under pressure. And that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because you will find yourself being under the gun more often than not because you can handle it or it's going to work out, right?
Yeah.
It's the thing. I don't want it to work out by the skin of my teeth. So I got tired of feeling like there wasn't ever really enough time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
biggest thing. And then the second thing that I started incorporating was just telling people, well, I'll do my best. You know what I'm saying? Like that was big for me. I'll do my best, or like putting a limit on it. Like, yes, I can assist with that. I can do this thing specifically. Because the problem with me, I may have been doing that and I get there and saw that people needed help with a bunch of other stuff. And now here I am doing 20 other things that I wasn't supposed to do because I want someone's event to go well, or I
Yeah.
want someone to get the good result, or, I don't want someone to be in a bad spot or stuck because they don't have anyone else right now. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
learn to like literally limit that and say, yes, I can help with this, but I can help with this from this time to this time, or I can help in this particular way. Or if I'm not sure, hey, if I have some time after, I complete my other commitments or obligations, I'll be happy to call, I'll be happy to help out. So getting comfortable with that, and it was very uncomfortable for me initially, but I also had to think, um, I don't know how to say this without it sounding like crass, but some of us get to a point, there's not anyone else around us that can assist us, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so you have to make sure that your ship stays afloat. And so I use the example, like let's say financially. Let's say I'm having a tough month, right? So my expenses are like over $100,000 a month, like just for the company
Yeah.
in between, and this is just one of the companies with like payroll, softwares, our marketing and our advertisement. It probably costs about $1.8 million to run that particular company, right? I'm not talking
Right.
about my expenses as far as like, going to get an outfit or shoes or something like that.
Yeah.
About like legitimate things just to keep stuff running the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
That I'd gotten to a point at one point in time, I had the realization that if I was not able to keep my ship afloat because I'm dedicating too much time and resources to other people, who was going to help me? Like, who could I call and say, hey, can I borrow, $500,000 because I need to be able to get through, the next quarter, or you know what I mean, or the next
Yeah.
quarter, and You know, I'll be able to pay it back in 6 months. But literally, there wasn't anyone that I could call at that time that would say yes. Like there are people that have the heart that they want to give to. They may be like, okay, girl, I can't give you $250,000, but you can come sleep on my, couch, or you come get a dinner from me, you know what I mean? Or and they may be like, I got five on it, I got five on it, I got 20 on it, but not really being so having that realization of
Yeah.
literally, I cannot afford to keep operating it this way, because if I have a slip up, or if I make a mistake, or if I run into a brick wall, who is there to be able to assist me? So I had, kind of having that like sobered me up. And I was like, ooh, I was like, okay, we got to make sure, like, yeah, I can assist, but I got to keep my stuff moving the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you're a role model to others too. If you're not doing it, how are we teaching others to do it? And so I think that's a fabulous realization of like making sure that, if I'm just giving away my services, or if I'm giving away my time, that is your biggest asset that you
Yeah.
have to give. And so making sure that you have these safeguards and in check. And I think too, as a business owner, that when I had ran my business, for gosh, almost 20 some years without ever having a line of credit. And
Yeah.
because I never needed it, right? And so, but it was one of those things for me. I was like, when my old bookkeeper says, Teri, you should probably look into a line of credit. And she's like, it's best to get one when you don't need one, right? And so I'm
That's true.
so grateful that I listened to her, at that time, because it's given this money as a resource, you know, in places where I couldn't just call someone up and say, hey, can you loan me 100,000,
Yeah.
and so making sure that we put in those safeguards as we grow and expand our business, because as we get bigger, we do have more expenses, we do have more liability, we do have more responsibilities, we just have more, we have more risk involved. And if something falls through the cracks, and if we don't have those safeguards, it could be the detriment of our business. And you've
Yeah.
worked so hard to do this, like why.
Yeah, so me having that realization was like, you know what? It's okay to not be able to do everything. And I
Yeah.
wish the realization sooner. And I'll be honest, I don't know if the not wanting to tell people no, or not wanting people to excuse me,
Bless
I'm sorry.
you.
Thank
You're
you.
good.
Not wanting people to be disappointed. I kind of feel like part of that though is the socialization that we get as women, from the time that we're girls. And so that was a big challenge for me.
Yeah.
And honest, I had to work on that for like years before I could get to the point where I could be, confident
Yeah.
in the decision and not feel bad, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
that was a struggle for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with you. I think as women, I think that it's interesting that you said that, because like I moved into a new space, into where my studio is currently, and the owner of the company, the owner of the building, he was just like, oh my goodness, now we're gonna have two girls here in the building. And I'm like, who are you talking about? Like, I don't know who you're talking about. But it's just that, like, but it's that piece of it, right? And I was like, wait, I don't know who he's talking about. Oh, he's talking about me.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't know
you're
there was
right.
boys running the show. I don't,
You're right.
it's just yes. And it's really, allowing ourselves to step into that power. But, in all honesty, when we look at mentors, when we look at people that have done it, who do we, there's not a lot of women, Black women, you know, um, being at your level, right? And so
Yeah.
who are these mentors? Who are these people to look up to? Because we don't necessarily have um always the greatest role models to mirror after.
Yeah, it's true. And so
And I'm
it's
I'm I'm so
always
grateful that you
shocking though, whenever
what's
you
that?
get it. It was always shocking though, because you're like, we're in like 2000, and we're in the 2020s. And like, but you still are met with kind of like that traditional or almost archaic thought for as far thought pattern,
Completely.
like, like women can't do these things. And I'm not saying there's a woman we can do everything that a man can do. I'm not saying that, but there's so many things that we're capable of. And there are also some things that women we do better than men. And
Yeah.
that, and that's okay to get comfortable with that and to acknowledge that.
Yeah. Well, I am so grateful that you've stood in your power and overcome that. And I think that's just an inspiration for folks that are listening in is, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think every single one of us as a business owner have had to overcome some sort of either personal or business challenge, block, barrier in order to get where we get to where we're at now. And I think that those are those lessons. Those are the things that, I think that we come here on this planet to overcome, to set a new path, to set a new precedence, to light the path for others, and be the inspiration for others to follow your footsteps and so much more. Right. And so thank you for powering through this. And I think that, for folks that are listening into this, and I think that we have not talked necessarily about this concept that you just laid out, is how do we get away from that dysfunction? How do we stop it? So do you have a tip, a tool, a technique that you have found to be, powerful and really leveling up your company?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, it's really simple, but a lot of people don't do it. Time blocking. Time blocking is like your best friend. It's not sexy, it's not is, but it efficiency, it creates consistency, and it will give you the space that you need as an entrepreneur to be able to decompress sometimes, and actually be able to get your wits about yourself so that you can make the proper decisions and, create the right strategies and partner with the right people and those sorts of types of things. So the easiest way to time block that I teach people, pick a day and designate it for different things. And that doesn't mean that you do that all day. But so for instance, like it's Friday today when you and I are talking, right? So this is like my real estate / site visit day. So I'll go check on some of the executive rental properties. I actually, I'm picking up the keys to a new warehouse. I'm excited. We had run out of space. So we got a brand new, like 11,000 square foot facility. So getting all of that stuff, ran down and together. Then we have a couple of like the rental properties, that they're in process of renovation. So like Fridays though, unless it's an emergency, I'm not doing that stuff outside of Friday, right? That's my designated day for that. So Friday from 1 o'clock on, I'm out and about, and that is designated for that. And then for instance, like Tuesday, we joking, we call it Talk Tuesday in my company. So Tuesday is the day I take all of our discovery calls, any type of onboarding with our new clients happen that day. If I have to do some type of schedule, like assessment or consultation, or maybe we're doing like an audit on their funnel or something, I schedule Tuesdays for that because it gives me some type of structure instead of stuff just kind of all over the place. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I would say to anyone. If you're not time blocking, try it out for like 90 days. You're going to be really surprised at how it helps you in your life. Then once we kind of get into, you have your designated days of your big kind of task or recurring things for the week, then you're going to get into time blocking for the day. And again, it isn't sexy, but it works for so many people. So literally,
I am a huge proponent of time blocking. It's like, because it gives you consistency, like when you're like, okay, Wednesdays are my discovery call day, or, it just gives you, Thursdays are my client day call, my client calls. And it just gives that one more peace of mind, but it just gives that overall structure. So, we want to be able to create, what is it that I say? We're creating that structure so that we can create freedom. Right. And so for me, like, I love my spontaneous time. But I've structured my day so that it creates more time for play, creates more time for, the things that are really important to me, like my family, my friends, things like that. So I'm a huge proponent of what you're talking about. And I love that, the designated days, and then within the days, time blocking within the days as well.
Yeah. So
And especially if we have calendars, because I think folks that have calendars, we open it up and we're like, oh, anyone can schedule anywhere. But if you,
Yeah.
when you're time
No.
blocking, it makes it so easy to pair that up with your calendar system
Mhm.
that says these are only the chunks of time that you're available to take those calls.
And that's that. And I would recommend even inside of there, like time block your time for yourself. So if you need time to get up in the morning and go work out, or you need to meditate, or you need to pray, if you like to mosey in the morning, you need some time because the back end of your day gets hectic. So you want to take your first couple hours, have your coffee, watch the news, maybe call your mom or something. I don't know, spend time with your kids, whatever. But you can put that in your schedule the same way you would schedule a client call or a meeting. So that way, you have time for that. Then once that's wrapped up, okay, let's go look in the email inbox for an hour. Now we're going to take the next hour of the day and we're going to return calls. Then
Yeah.
maybe I'm going to take a 20-minute break so I can get out and walk around the block a couple times and get some air. All right, I've done that. Now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to get to maybe contracts, reviews, maybe it's bill payment time. I don't know, whatever it is that
Yeah.
you do,
Yeah.
like really putting that in the day and having a hard stop, right?
Yes.
And even sometimes, again, it's not sexy, but you may need to schedule a date night. You may need to schedule your girls' night. Like you may need to
Right.
put on
Yeah.
the calendar, like, no, Thursday night from 7 to 10, I'm going to hang out with my friends and we're going to eat sushi and drink wine or whatever it's going to be.
Oh
But
no.
literally creating that space. And then, like you said, it instantaneously lets you know, okay, well, I have 3 hours that I can dedicate to helping someone or doing
Yeah.
this other project. I can fit in this volunteer class during this time in this day. And so now you're able to I feel like be more in synergy where you're like, okay, things are flowing right for me, they're moving right
Yes.
for me. I don't feel overwhelmed and I'm still able to create some type of time for work. I'm able to create time for family. I'm able to create time for myself. Like you said, when you can be spontaneous during those times, because it's like, oh, great, I got this block of time. I can do whatever I feel like now.
Yeah.
I've been structured. I put in my time. Let
Yes.
me go
Yeah.
and be one with myself at this point in time. So time blocking was a big game changer for me and an easy way for me to be able to, essentially get out of my own way. And so literally if somebody asked me, hey, I got such and such and such going on, can you help me move or can you assist with this particular event or can you donate XYZ to me? Well, what time do you need it? When is the setup? When is XYZ? Well, actually, I can come and I can set up at this time. I can get this done over here. Yeah, I can help you move, on Saturday from 12 to 3, but don't be late, girl, because I got to leave right at 3 because I got other stuff going on. And it helped me to not feel guilty because when I
Yeah.
look at my calendar, how I was living my life before, oh, it was a mess. There was literally never any time for me myself. Like literally not even time to
Yeah.
go for a walk. I remember at one point in time, I had an assistant and she had scheduled my calls like so close back to back to back. I literally didn't even have time to get a drink of water or go to the restroom. And I had to message them and I was like, y'all do realize like I'm a human being.
Yeah.
Like I need
Not a
this
machine.
water. I need these
Yes.
facilities. I may need 15, 20 minutes in the day to like take a phone call. Like it
Yeah.
was so crazy that it was just
Yeah.
like the time in your schedule, we're gonna fill up every little block. And I feel like I fell victim to grind culture or hustle culture, where it's like, we're supposed to work nonstop. You sleep when you're dead. Like, if you're going to be successful, you are going to have to work a bit harder than the average bear. But again, this is why I say, having some strategy behind it is not really just hard work because I was doing all that hard work before, but I was not progressing as fast as I do now. And I do think I probably still work a bit harder than the average bear, but I have more structure and I'm not working myself to death. And when I need to take a break or go to sleep or have a vacation, if I need to, go out on a jog, I have time to do that. I have time every day in my schedule where I can wake up, do my gratitude chants, I can meditate, I can pray. When it's not too cold outside, I actually go out to the park, go for a walk. I have time where I'm able to do that, come home, do my hygiene, have a cup of tea, and then get
Yes.
myself settled into my day and get into it.
Love it. I love it. And this is such a great reminder for all of us to just really take the time. And by the time this airs, we'll be still close in that first quarter. And so again, it's a good reminder to kind of do a reset, reevaluate what's working, what's not working on your
Yeah.
calendar. How do we incorporate some new habits, some new processes? And thank you, because this is it's a reminder for me. And I wrote a little note for myself going, you know what, Teri, let's go look at my time blocking, because time blocking evolves, and I'm going to go just make sure that what worked last year for me is working this year. So thank you. I'm going to go do my own homework
It's
this weekend and just reevaluate. Like, I have these time plunked. Does this still make sense? Because I just added a new project, and I'm like, you know what? I think I need to tweak some things. So, if you have been time blocking, you might need to go back and tweak it. So thanks for that reminder. And Ashley, it's been an absolute delight to have you on. Where can people connect with you?
I'm at King Ashley Ann everywhere. My favorite platforms right now are probably TikTok and YouTube, even though Instagram is my biggest platform. And I'm there, but I'm having a lot of fun on TikTok and YouTube and growing those new accounts over there. I think I'm close. I gave myself a year to hit 100,000 followers on TikTok. I'm under the year and I'm like at 89.5. So I think I'm going to make it.
I
Um,
love it.
so yeah, so it's a lot of fun there. And then also what I'm doing this year, once a month, I've committed to once a month. It's normally on a Sunday. I am doing a free training. And it's not an ever webinar, y'all. It's actually me. We're there. But you got to put a big amount of time in your calendar for this training. Because it's like a 3 to 5 hour. It's a real training. It's not a bunch of fluff on how you monetize social media. It's actually breaking down the softwares, the processes, how you build your followers, finding your target audience, how to create the proper offer for that market, how to figure out what language they're using, all those sorts of types of things. So it's really an overview of how does this actually work? How do you actually make money through social media and digital channels? And so I want to make sure that I get a link for your audience. So if they want to attend that they can come to
Perfect.
the training. Yeah, normally it's like a workshop. When I do it in person, it's like $2,500. And I was like, I'm gonna do it for free at least once a month this year because there's so much misinformation out
Yeah.
there when it comes to actually monetizing social media, when it comes to making money through a digital market. And the digital spaces aren't going anywhere. So even if you have a service or a traditional brick and mortar business and not a cash flow business, you still literally have to know how to market properly
Right.
online, how to build up your community, and how to convert those people. So
Love it.
yeah, so I'll
I
make sure
love
that
it. So grab
if
me this
anybody,
link, and then we'll make sure that we put that into the show notes before we
yeah.
launch this. And thank you, Ashley, for just being the light in the world.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And you are like quite delightful. And I like your fun energy and your cute earrings too. They can't, they
Thank you.
can't
Fabulous earrings.
see
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.